Hey everyone, so we're going to be talking about the blackjack game, but we're going to be using Python in this. So I'll be going through every single step, and hopefully you understand like what I'm saying here. All right, let's get started. So starting with import random. So that import random does it basically just randomizes the list so that it's not in order. It's just randomized. Now you want to define every single card, and we're going to make the card class. Now to do that, we're going to say class card, and now we're going to make a dictionary, which basically says the card values with the keys and the values. So our keys in this case is going to be the card names, which we will call it rank. It's like A's 2, 3, and so on and so forth. And our values are going to be the values, which is basically ace is 11, 2 is 2, and so on and so forth. And then the suits, if you guys don't know what suits are, it's basically the picture on the card, which is your spades, diamonds, hearts, and clubs. And now what I did was I created a function which initializes the rank, the suits, and the value. So I said self.rank equals rank, self.suit is suit, self.value is equal to the card values from the ranks. And we are defining another function where it basically returns each of the playing cards. So like it'll say something like 7 of hearts, king of diamonds, queen of spades. Just like that. Now that we created every single card, defining every single card I should say, we're going to create the deck class, which basically creates all the cards in a deck. In this case, we want to create 52 cards since that's how many cards are in a playing deck. So what we're going to do is initialize a self cards, which basically has an empty list. Think of it as a box with no cards inside. Think of it like that way. And we're going to do a build deck, which creates the cards with their respective values, ranks, and of course their suits. And then when you're playing it, of course you want to shuffle it just so that you don't have like 2 4s in a row and so on and so forth. And that is basically the function for the card class for initializing those cards. And now for the build deck. What we're going to do is create those cards. So we're going to do suits. We have the spades, diamonds, hearts, and clubs. For suits and suits, we got the rank in card values. So we're going to say card equals card, rank, suit, and the self and cards append. So we're going to like add in all those cards in order, and it's going to keep on adding at the end of the list every single time until it reaches to that 52 cards that we want in that self cards empty list that we made. So we're basically filling up that box. Now the shuffle, what it does is we're going to say random.shuffle. In this case, we want to shuffle the self cards, which is our list of those 52 cards. So it's going to shuffle those cards. That's what the random does. And now to play the cards, you want to deal them, right? You want to give 2 to yourself as the player, and then the dealer, of course, needs to deal 2 cards to himself or herself. So you want to say length of the cards is equals 0, which is basically the value of the cards in your hands and the dealer's hands. So if it equals 0, that means you would have to call from that method of build deck, and then you would shuffle it, and then that return.self.cards.pop, what it does is it basically removes the cards from that self cards list, and it comes to you. So what that pop method does is, in other words, it basically takes out a value, something from that list, and it goes to somewhere else. So in this case, that somewhere else is our hands. So in other words, I'm talking about the player's hands and of course the dealer's hands. So that's what I mean by our hands. So that's what that deal card function does. Alright, so here we have the blackjack class, and then we'll be describing everything that we have made in the blackjack class itself. So here we have self.deck equals deck, where we're going to call out we're going to basically just call it the deck of cards. It initializes it, and then we're basically creating an empty list of that self player hand, which has no cards as of right now, empty list. Same thing for the dealer, no cards. And then for the money, we're getting $200 us players. All right, so right here, what we did was we made a count total specifically for the aces. So let's just say you have 5 of spades and 10 of diamonds, and you somewhat pull an ace of hearts. So what it's going to do here, it's going to act like an 11. So that will give us 26, right? So what I'm going to do here is have aces equal sum, 1 for card in hand, if the rank equals ace. And in this case, it does. And since it's greater than 21, it's going to subtract 10 just so that ace becomes a 1 itself. So then it's going to become 16. So that 26 is going to be subtracted from 10, which gives us the 16. And then I just have this aces equals aces minus 1, just so that we know how many aces are left. And just in case if we somewhat got an ace. Same thing for the dealer. So that's what that aces does. And then returns the total. So this is specifically the function for if either of us gets an ace. So hopefully that makes sense. So now right here we have the show hands, which basically just, makes all of those 2 cards added into one. So what I mean by that is, let's just say you have 5 diamonds and 10 of spades. So right there we have it as a string. So what this return.join, what it does is, and then we have this string card for card in hand, it basically combines them together as if you have 2 separate cards. And that comma just means you have 2 separate cards. So 5 of diamonds, comma, 7 of spades. So that's what that show hands does. We're making a function for starting hands where each player will have 2 hands. So we said self player hand is equal to the self dot deal card and the self dot deck deal card. So we are going to have 2 cards, and same thing for the dealer hand. So it's kind of like the same thing, but we just define it differently for the players. Now what we're going to do is we're going to define the player's turn. So specifically in terms of the total, like the points, right? Because our goal is to get less than 21 and try to not go above 21. So let's just say, so you have the total, right? Let's just say you get the 2 cards. Let's just say you got 10 of spades and 9 of diamonds, right? You'll say that, and then you're at a total of 19. So in this case, we are not greater than or equal to 21, so it's not going to break this while loop right here. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, do you want to hit? Yes or no. So let's just say you want to hit, and you somehow get a ace, right? So in this case, it's going to be a 1. So it's going to add into the end. It's going to say so and so, and since we're not greater than or equal to 21, it's going to ask the same question. And then in this case, if you say no, it's going to break because we said no. And then here we have the method called dealer's turn, which basically the dealer, if he has less than 17, he has to pull the cards until he has at least more than 17, or, if he wants to try to beat the player. So let's just say you have 10, and then he has a 5, right? So he is at 15, so he has to hit again. So if he hits again, let's just say 7, it'll take him out, and basically the dealer loses. So that's the idea for that method, or I should say the function, dealer's turn. And then you're going to compare the hands between the player and the dealer himself. And then after that, you're going to print out the dealer's cards, showing all the cards without those mystery cards, and then show the dealer's total. And once you do that, you're going to compare whether you win or lose. So if you get more than 21, you're busted. You give the bet to the dealer. If the dealer gets more than 21 and less than you as the player, you win. You get that money that you just betted. And also, if you get less than the dealer, you basically lose. And in rare cases, if there is a tie, you get the money back. So nothing happens. So that's a really good thing. But it's kind of rare in some cases. And then they'll say your total is so-and-so. And then, then you have this play around method where we're basically just making sure that there's not some crazy people that are like, oh, let me bet more than what I have, or let me bet less than what I have, or put in some random words. Just make sure that they put in the right stuff. So I just put it is digits just so that we have numbers instead of being, strings. Then we just said continue, and then we just put in the bet input. And then I just basically call in the function where it starts the starting hands, and also it will reveal the dealer's hand at the first card at the left side. And then we're gonna call it mystery card because the card is flipped down. And then it'll go to the player. It'll call in the function player's turn. And then let's just say the player is not busted. It's going to the player's hand, less than 21. Then it's going to go into the dealer's turn. That is where, the dealer does its thing. Make sure they get the cards and the value is greater than 17. And we'll see if they can hit, if they lose or win. And they'll do the compare, and then it'll return true, showing who won. And that's what basically does. That's like the main code of it. And now finally, we made a loop where it basically says, welcome to Blackjack. Type D for dealer, Q to quit. And right here, we call the game Blackjack, which basically calls in the class and with all the methods. And then what we're going to do is just put in D for deal and Q to quit. And we just basically just put in the methods so that it does the game properly. And we also made sure that the user puts in the right stuff so that it does not crash the game or something. So that is basically the code for Blackjack. And now we're going to do an example. We'll play some games of Blackjack. Let's check it out. Oh, let me try this again. Let me just stop it just to show you how it looks like. So here it says, welcome to Blackjack. Type D for deal and Q to quit. So we're going to say D for deal. So how much you want to bet? We're going to bet 200. So we have 8 of diamonds and 5 of clubs. So we are at 13. So we're going to say, you know what? I feel pretty good. So we're going to say yes, because why not? There could be the chance of getting more than that, but let's see. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, we lost this one because we hit a 10 of hearts, which gives us 23, which means we lost, which means if we press deal, it should say, nope, you don't have enough money, and it's over. So, yeah. So, that's that. We'll do one more, because why not? So, we're going to say D for deal. And we're going to say 120. So, we're at 11. And you know what? He has a jack of hearts. He could have an ace there. So, you know what? I mean, 50-50 chance, so might as well just hit. And we are at 14. Ooh. I might as well just hit and see what happens. We're at 15. We got ace of clubs. Ooh. Okay. Honestly, why not? Let's just hit again. We got 7, which means we got 22. So honestly, why not? Might as well just end it off by going all in, because why not? And now here we have a 14, and then the card is King of Diamonds, a mystery card. So we're going to hit again. We're at 20, and we are going to not hit. So we're going to say end for no. And in this case, we just won because the dealer got more than 21, so we win the money back. And now we're just going to say Q for quit because we're going to save that money, and that's pretty much it. So that is basically the code for Blackjack. So let me know your thoughts about Blackjack, and hope you all have a great day. Have a great summer, everyone.